Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to do kind of the opposite of my other video of ranking the last 10 years for each NFL team, which you guys seem to really like, so I appreciate that. Like and subscribe if you guys get the chance, and we're just going to get on into it. This can be very similar tiers to what we already did. Top tier being Dynasty. I think you win multiple championships in the next 5 years. Consistent disappointment, i.e., the Buffalo Bills. Will be better than you think. This is a team that you may not think right now can have a great next 5 years, but I think it'll definitely surprise you on where I have them ranked. Next one is young QB changes everything. Pretty self-explanatory. If this young QB, rises up to the top, I think it could be great. If they fall, they can definitely make the team fall as well with just their play alone. Next one is Minnesota Vikings. That means you are bang on average. Vikings seems like average throughout their whole entire history. They've had some really, really big highs and then really far lows, and for the most part, they just stay right in the middle. Worse than you think. This is a team that you may not recognize has a bad cap situation, bad quarterback leaving under contract, defense getting older, several things. Next one is Arch Manning watch. So this team could drastically change in the next 5 years if they're really bad, and then draft Arch Manning in next year's quarterback class or some other of the top quarterbacks. Next one is the Cleveland Browns. Pretty self-explanatory. Next one is the Miami Dolphins. Pretty self-explanatory. All right, everybody. Just switching around the tiers here. I accidentally switched them up. All right. Hey, let's go ahead and get started. Let's have a good video. Thank you again for watching. And yeah, let's get on after it with the LA Rams. I'm going to take, and there's going to be some bold takes in this video. There's going to be some bold takes. It's just a personal opinion. So if you guys have a differing opinion, please let me know. I appreciate it. I think the Rams are going to be consistent disappointment because I think this is going to be one of the last 2 years. I think they're going to have 2 years of Matt Stafford in this 5 year window here. Remember, this is the next 5 years. And I think it's easy for them to disappoint because they don't have as many chances as everybody else. They're going to have to draft a quarterback, sign one. Defense got a lot better in this offseason, right? Adding Trent McDuffie to a long-term deal. They got Jalen Watson. Yeah, they got Jalen Watson or Joshua Williams, one of the two. And the offensive line's getting a little bit older. Defensive line is going to be great for years to come, but they're going to be consistent disappointment because I think Matt Stafford leaves after the second year, and they have to spend a couple years trying to find their quarterback. Cleveland Browns, going to Cleveland Browns tier. There's like a Cleveland Browns tax. Now, however good you think they might be, they're just going to be automatically a little bit worse. Simple as that. They've shown an inability as a franchise over the last 50 years to do anything positive for an extended period of time. So with that being said, they are going to be in the second to last tier, behind the Miami Dolphins tier. Deshaun Watson still in a contract for 2 more seasons. They think Shedeur Sanders is the guy. I don't know what they're smoking. I need some of it. They're just not anything other than the Cleveland Browns tier, which is the second to last tier that I have made today. Atlanta Falcons. What are you doing, Atlanta? What are you doing? You have 2 left-handed, injury-prone quarterbacks on your roster, and the third one is Kirk Cousins. What are you doing? Tua hasn't played at any kind of decent level since 2023 when he made the Pro Bowl. I think led the league in passing yards, I think, or maybe 2022. What are you doing? Your defensive players are getting arrested for assaulting women. Well, one. I guess I should not group everybody to get. James Pierce has been arrested for, I think, assaulting his wife or fiance. What are you doing as a franchise? You hired Kevin Stefanski as head coach, who was from the Browns. Shocker, you're in the same tier. That's all I have to say. You're not going to be good over the next 5 years. I expect perpetual disappointment, as Falcons fans always give. Los Angeles Chargers. I think they'll be better than you. No, I'm going to say consistent disappointment. I think over the next 5 years, Justin Herbert is really going to grow as a quarterback. And even in tough situations, right, where he was in last year, I know he didn't have the greatest offensive line. I still love him as a player. But he does need to play better, and I think he is going to play better. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to um, get a better, get more, I guess, more reliable offensive line play around him, and upgrade the running back room. And the defense is already pretty solid. They made a couple of signings this offseason. I think they're going to be consistent disappointment, as in make the playoffs every single year and not win anything. I don't even think they make it to the Super Bowl. I don't even know if they make it to the conference championship. Let me know, guys, if you make the divisional every year and disappoint. Is that disappointment, or is that a tier lower than that? Next one, San Francisco 49ers. I have a bold prediction that the 49ers are going to win Super Bowl this year. And this is just my opinion. And um, this is what I believe. The 49ers, I hopefully are going to be healthy this year. You're going to have still Christian McCaffrey coming off a great season, Brock Purdy, Mike Evans, Ricky Pearsall, maybe Juwan Jennings, maybe he comes back. But if not, you have George Kittle. You have offensive studs, and you still have Trent Williams back for another year. The offense is going to be fine. And if the defense just stays healthy, if they stay healthy, this is one of the best teams in the league. I think they find a way to get it done. So I'm going to put them in dynasty. And again, by dynasty, I think they can win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. If you win a Super Bowl every 5 years, that is considered a dynasty to me. Um, so if and I mean you have to win multiple. You do have to win multiple, like multiple in a 10-year frame. But since we're only doing the next 5 years, you know what? I know people are going to get mad. Let me just put Super Bowl. All right, put Super Bowl. There you go. Carolina Panthers. They're going to be worse than you think, because I know they just made the playoffs last year and they have Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young is ass. I don't think he's very good. He's 5'9". He has a clear deficiency when trying to see over offensive linemen and throw over the middle of the field. Look up his stats over the middle of the field. They are not good. And they're the Carolina Panthers. They also kind of got that little bit of stench to them. The defense is overall getting better, right? They signed Jalen Phillips to a massive contract I don't think he deserved. The linebacking core is really atrocious. Obviously, this can change in a 5 years time, but you have to kind of look at the foundation they have now, and the foundation of Bryce Young, Chuba Hubbard, a couple decent offensive linemen, and a pass rusher you overpaid. I think they're going to be worse than people think this decade, which I think that means they're probably going to average like 7 wins a year for the whole decade, or for the next 5 years. Sorry, for the next 5 years. Seattle Seahawks. They're going to be consistent disappointment. I don't think they win another Super Bowl in this next 5 year window. Um, I think Sam Darnold's getting another year older. They lost a lot of players in free agency. I still think they're going to be a wonderful football team and wonderful. What the fuck? I think they're going to be a great football team in all aspects. Honestly, whenever Charbonnet comes back from his surgery, the offensive line is still built very, very well, and the defense is still really good, even after letting guys like Reek Woolen. Um, you never think of that pass rush. The pass rush that went somewhere else for 4 for 100. They're going to be consistent disappointment this year, and that's what I expect. Buffalo Bills. I think they do get over the top and win a Super Bowl. I think they finally hit a home run with the DJ Moore trade. The defense is going to be the big story. That's how it is every playoff run, except for this last one. But I think the Buffalo Bills are building something very, very nice on the defensive side of the ball. They built a solid defensive line with still Rousseau there and Ed Oliver and I think Bosa coming back for another year? He probably should. He was pretty good. Um, I think they're going to win the Super Bowl in the next 5 years. I refuse to believe that Josh Allen retires without one. Green Bay Packers. Um, I'm going to throw them in Super Bowl. I do think the Packers win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. Micah Parsons is just in his prime. Jordan Love is in his prime, and they're both playing excellent football. When you have Josh Jacobs and then Matt LaFleur as a head coach, who I think is a very good head coach. I know he has his flaws, but I think he's done a great job in Green Bay. They have a really, really solid young foundational group on the defensive and offensive side of the ball. They need to spend some money and money and draft picks to upgrade the offensive line, but I think they'll be fine. I think they will win a Super Bowl within the next 5 years. My computer's freezing. There we go. Next one is the Saints. Saints are going to be an Arch Manning watch. I know Tyler Shuck had a decent, I guess, showing. Was it like 5 games? The Saints are still in cap hell. They're still paying old guys they shouldn't. They still have like I just don't trust them at this point. Ever since Drew Brees retired, and even when Drew Brees, right before Drew Brees retired, they haven't been playing good football at all. I have no reason to believe that they're going to get back there. The foundation is pretty weak on the offensive side of the ball. Other than Chris Olave, they don't really have anybody right now. They don't. I mean, they have Travis Achan now, I don't know how to. He apparently said his last name is pronounced Achan now, so we have two Achans. I don't think he's ever here. He's very good either. He's not very explosive, and I just don't like this roster. I don't like the way the roster's built. They're going to be on Arch Manning watch for next year. They're going to be pretty bad. Raiders. Next 5 years, they have Fernando Mendoza, but I do think they're going to be worse than people think. I think people are assuming that with Fernando Mendoza and some of these signings that they made, like Tyler Linderbaum and guys like that, and obviously holding on to Max Crosby, people think they're going to be close to a 500 team over the next 5 years. I just don't see it. Fernando Mendoza is fine, but we've seen several times with these other organizations down here that you just can't get a number one overall pick and to just change your franchise like that. I think the franchise has to be better built, and I don't think the Raiders are built well enough. They have to show me that first. They haven't been to a playoff game in a very long time, and they haven't won a playoff game in a very long time. You need to show me something first, and I think they're going to be worse than you think. Again, there's going to be some hot takes in here. There's going to be some bold takes. Everything's not just going to be linear as it is in like Madden, or what some people believe to be real life. Dallas Cowboys. I know people love to clown the Cowboys, but I do think they're going to be better than you think. Cowboys have done a really good job at collecting assets and upgrading the defense slowly. The only problem is I don't know how many excellent years Dak has left. As a professional Cowboys hater, Dak has been a very good quarterback in the regular season to get you there. And I think he has done a good job at carrying his offense at some points when the defense refuses to step up at all. Or I don't know if it's the scheme. I think it's the players. I don't think they have really good enough players. They need some guys to stay healthy, like DeMarvion Overshone, and we'll see how they are going into the next 5 years. But I think the defense is going to improve, and I think they will be a perennial playoff team. The Bears. I think the Bears win a Super Bowl. Yeah, Ben Johnson is a whole fucking vibe. I love Ben Johnson. He's single handedly brought this team up to relevance again, and he's been doing it off of teamwork. But Caleb Williams has definitely improved in year three. I have nothing but good things to say about Caleb Williams. Obviously, sometimes he takes unnecessary sacks, but I think he is a franchise quarterback who can make every throw, and a lot of guys just can't do that. Defense has been good. Same players, but again, Ben Johnson, the power of friendship. They let Tremaine Edmonds walk in free agency, but they still have some really good players among the D line, and then especially in that safety group back there. So I think they're going to win a Super Bowl. Colts, I think, are going to be worse than people think. You signed Daniel Jones. It's pretty self explanatory. That's kind of what it is there. You signed Alec Pierce to $28 million a year or $29 million a year. That is ridiculous. I don't know why you did that. He's good. He's not $28 million good. And this is just what happens when you overpay some key positions and you don't have money to fill out the rest of your roster. The rest of your roster is kind of buns. Your defense kind of stinks all over the place. Nobody to rush the passer because Quiddy Pay left and some other guys left. Your linebackers aren't very good; they're just tackle machines because your defense is on the field so much. And then you have Sauce Gardner at corner, but he didn't even play that well when he got there. It's like the Colts almost have this stench about them now, and you have Daniel Jones. Um, Next team, the Miami Dolphins in the Miami Dolphins tier. What are they doing? They signed a quarterback and then are letting all of their weapons go. I don't understand what they're doing. I saw a report that they might trade Devon Achane now. If that happens, why'd you sign Malik Willis? Why'd you sign Malik Willis? I don't understand. If you're drafting a guy, with your first pick, then why don't you just keep Achan or Waddle and just build a good offense so you can have a good offense with that? I don't understand what they're doing. Defense is obviously ass. The coaching staff is ass. I don't even know who Jeff Hatley, and I think he's ass. Everybody's ass in that organization. It's just except for the cheerleaders. The New England Patriots, I think they're going to disappoint and be worse than you think. I love Drake May. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. But I'm really worried about their offensive line situation. And I know this is going to ruffle a lot of feathers, but Will Campbell genuinely wasn't good this year. He wasn't very good. He got overpowered because of short arms and his lack of strength. He can obviously improve the strength, but he cannot improve the arms. And I'm not a huge fan of the defensive side of the ball. I know they had a good defense last year. They're signing some of these older players like Clavon Chason, and some of them left. Some of them are getting older. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and say they're worse than people think. Because they have a hard schedule this year. They had the easy schedule of all time last year. Like I just don't see a world where they get back to where they were. They're going to be worse than people think for the next 5 years. Lions, I think they're going to be average. I think they're going to have some good years. I think they're going to have some bad years. Well, okay. Okay, I overreacted. Hold on. They're in the young QB changes everything. Drake May can carry them to some good wins and some playoff berths. I just don't think he will. So I want to make that very clear, but I'm going to put him in young QB changes everything because he could change everything. Anyways, the Lions are the Minnesota Vikings. They're just bang on average. I think they're going to have some good years, some bad years, but I think they're going to end this next 5 years with a very, very similar win loss to each other. I love Jared Goff. You probably have another 2, 3 more years of him. Amon Ra and Jameer Gibbs are obviously amazing, but this is kind of the problem you saw with the Rams, where once you let that quarterback go, you have to find him, and that's really, really hard to do when you're trying to find a new quarterback. Unless you're picking guys up off the scrap heap in free agency, like your division rivals here. Um, I think they're going to be average for the decade or for the next 5 years. The Bengals, I think, are going to be better than people think. I think there's a negative stench around the Bengals right now because they have not won in the last couple of years because Joe Burrow keeps getting hurt. If Joe Burrow's healthy, this team wins a lot of games. That's basically how it is, plain and simple. I think they make the playoffs every single year. I don't think they're going to be a disappointment enough to where they are making conference championships and losing consistently, but I think they do make the playoffs every year. And I think that's better than people think the Bengals are. I think people think the Bengals don't have a chance with that defense, which you could obviously be right. I just think the Bengals will improve the defensive side of the ball. And as long as Joe Burrow is playing football and still playing there, I think they're going to be better than people think. Tennessee Titans, worse than people think. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm not a fan of Cam Ward, really. He's an inefficient. He's like a Walmart Caleb Williams. And they did this offseason. They signed a lot of players to overpays just to get them on the Titans, and they still have so many holes to go. I mean, their offensive line is pretty ass. Their running back room consists of Tajay Spears. Their defense is still pretty putrid, and they got Wandell Robinson, who's the shortest 5'9" or the shortest 1,000-yard receiver ever. But he's not a number one. You're basically signing him to be a number one because you paid him over $70 million. I just don't see that. And all the other guys you signed in free agency are fine, but I just don't think that this team is going to be above 500 for the decade. I just don't. I'm sorry. I just don't think it. Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're going to be a consistent disappointment. I don't think you could put them really any lower. I think they're built too well as an organization to be worse than that. The Eagles either consistently disappoint or will win one Super Bowl. I don't think they win a Super Bowl in this next 5 years. They have Jalen Hurts, obviously good foundation. Saquon's still there, probably for the next 2 years. And as long as A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and that good offensive line is there, they're going to put up points. And then the defense, Howie Roseman always finds guys to just plug and play at certain positions, and he's really good at it. So Eagles, inconsistent disappointment. I would not really put them anywhere else other than this. I think they're going to make a couple conference championship games. You could even argue a Super Bowl. Jaguars. I think they're going to be average. I like the foundation that they've built there. I'm just not a consistent believer in Trevor Lawrence. I do like him as a player, but Trevor Lawrence, he just looks he's very inconsistent at times. He'll have some bad years and good years, some good games and bad games. It'll have to kind of even itself out to the same amount of good as bad. Um, and honestly, that's kind of where this team goes. They kind of go as Trevor Lawrence goes. Defense has played well last year. They were really good at holding teams to few points and causing turnovers. But I'm going to make a bold prediction here. Again, bold predictions. I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to be average. Denver Broncos. They are the other team I see winning a Super Bowl in this decade. These are the five Super Bowl teams of the decade for me. Unless I really, really have a strong opinion about anybody down here. I think these are the five Super Bowl teams for the decade. The Broncos are just so well built. I love Bo Nix as a player. I think he's efficient and he fits the roster and what they need to do. Is he the best quarterback in the world? No, but he's like Brock Purdy on the 49ers. He knows how to command that offense and he does it at a really high level. They just traded for Jalen Waddle, obviously, which is going to help a ton for Bo Nix. And whenever he scrambles, finding Jalen Waddle instead of Devon Vele. Sorry, Devon Vele and your family. I didn't mean to offend you like that. And the defense is always going to be Super Bowl caliber. Super Bowl caliber. It's filled with studs all around the field. Lost a couple niche pieces here, like guys like Alex Singleton. I think he left. Either he left or I think he left. And you still have Pat Surtain back there and an amazing D line. And they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think they're going to win the next Super Bowl, probably. The New York Giants. It's the young QB changes everything. That is it for this franchise. If Jackson Dart plays very well, I think John Harbaugh is going to have a good foundation for this team to win football games, right? I think no matter the quarterback play, I think the Giants have automatically raised their floor to a 7-win team most years because John Harbaugh is there. And then if Jackson Dart plays well, this can get up to an 11, 12-win team. If he does not play well, you'll probably still sit around the 7 to 9 wins. And he really does change everything. And I think him and Drake May are on the same boat of importance, not in play because Drake May is better. But in terms of importance, I think the Giants are right there. Minnesota Vikings are going in the Minnesota Vikings tier. Doesn't matter the decade, doesn't matter the next 5 years. I can do the next 40 years, and the Minnesota Vikings will be next or right here in this tier. They have Kyler Murray that might be their starter now over 9. Um, sure, I guess their offense might be slightly better, but the defense is really bad last year under Brian Flores. Um, they're just going to be. They're going to win. They're going to win 7 to 9 games every single year, and I know what they are. I'm sorry, you can't change my mind. Arizona Cardinals. They're going in the Cleveland Browns tier. Pretty self-explanatory. No, we'll be nice. They have some competence. They just haven't been able to build a good roster in the last couple of years. Since Kyler Murray kind of, has had his COD addiction. They've been building with foundational pieces with high draft picks like Paris Johnson, Marvin Harrison Jr., and just some other guys that they spent high picks on. Zaven Collins is finally panning out. I just let go of Kyler Murray. That kind of stinks. But they're building something. They're building in the right direction. But they are going to be an arch-manning watch for this next year because they do not have a quarterback behind Jacoby Brissett at this moment. So, if I'm being honest, I think the next year or two can go bad. But if they get Arch Manning again, they could skyrocket up these rankings next year when I do this again. Baltimore Ravens, consistent disappointment. It's simple. They're the Ravens. The consistent disappointment is kind of in their DNA. Lamar as a playoff joker is kind of in his DNA, even though I love Lamar and I want him to shake that um, tag off of him. But that is him right now. That is him. The Ravens have built a good team. They've lost some players. Their defense should get better next year, and their offense should get worse. So therefore, I think they stay in consistent disappointment and disappoint again for the next 5 years. These are championship losers right here. I could see it over and over again. In fact, if you really want to match it up, these can be the Super Bowls each year, except this one can't. The Chiefs. The Chiefs. I think they're going to be consistent disappointment. The Chiefs are going to be really good as when Patrick Mahomes comes back. That's just how it is. They're going to lose in the championship game several times. I just see it. If I'm being completely honest with you, um, the Chiefs are just really good. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes, they're going to win a lot of football games, get to the playoffs, and they've been winning them in the past. But I don't think they're going to win them in the future. I think their dynasty run is over. But with that being said, I wouldn't be surprised if they won a Super Bowl in this range. Me personally, I think it's over. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to be worse than people think, and here's why. Um, I know I got some of my buddies watching this yelling at me, but Baker Mayfield's gone after next year, and they have a problem where some of these other teams that are trying to find a quarterback, like the Lions and the Rams, that are going to have to find a quarterback in the next couple of years, the Bucks don't have a good enough roster to supplement that at the moment. They have I just saw a graphic the other day that Emeka Egbuka was one of the worst receivers at getting open last year. That's not good. Chris Godwin's getting older and he's always injured. You just re-signed Kate Otten, who I don't know if he has more than 30 catches in the last 3 years. You have you have an offensive line that's not that good other than Tristan Wirfs. You have a defensive kind of roster that's decent on the back end with guys like Jacob Parrish and Antoine Winfield, but you don't have any linebackers other than Alex Anzalone, who you just signed, and your defensive line is just trash. It's just trash. It's buns, booty cheeks, big booty cheeks, just really garbage. Yaya Diaby's interesting. Sebastian Dennis is tall. The other two guys are white. I don't know. What do you want? I don't know what you want from me. And even if they re-sign Baker Mayfield, I don't think Baker Mayfield is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think he's a product of what is around him, and if there's nothing around him, I don't think he performs. That's how it's been for years. So I am so sorry, Bucks fans, but I think you are going to be worse than you think. Look at this whole trash ass division. Oh, this division is so ass. Oh my God, where's the other team? Bucks, Saints, Falcons, Panthers. Where's the Panthers? Oh, Panthers are right here with you. Look at this trash ass division. Man, this division's gonna suck over the next 4 years. Maybe I should move one of them up just because the rest of the team is going to be like maybe the Panthers deserve to be. I'm going to put the Panthers in 500 because the rest of this division you could just beat up on them every single year. Um, Yeah, we'll keep it there. The Jets. Jets going Miami Dolphins. Jets are the Jets. The Jets are going to jet. I could have done a whole New York tier, but I think the Giants are moving in the right direction. We'll really see that next year. The Jet. Who's really a Jets fan? If you have the opportunity to pick when you're younger, like why would you go Jets? Like why wouldn't you just go like the Bills? Or even the Giants. Like the Giants haven't had a lot of success in the last 10, 15 years, but they have Super Bowls. I just don't know why you'd be a Jets fan. The Jets have really nothing going for them. They just traded away all their talent except for Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. They just traded away Justin Fields, which was the best quarterback they've had in a while. That's sarcasm. Um, and I don't believe in Aaron Glenn as a head coach. I believe in him as a defensive coordinator. So as long as he's there, New York Jets are going to adhere. We know where the Steelers are going. Average. Don't need to say anything else. Commanders. Where are they going? They're going to be young QB changes everything. If Jane Daniels gets back to what he was in 2024, they're going to be good. We literally saw it. Jane Daniels wasn't good / hurt last year, and they weren't good. He was great the year before, and they were really good. It was the same roster, same old washed ass roster, and he still took them there. So changes everything. Houston Texans. Again, young QB changes everything. If CJ Stroud can learn how to throw a spiral, it's like just like that, dude. Just learn how to do it and throw it to your receivers when they're open. You don't have to take a cognition test. Don't worry. But please, you got to be better than what you were last year. You were atrocious. In that playoff game, I felt bad. I felt so bad watching that game. Let's go to the future now. I think CJ Stroud gets marginally better, and they maybe make a couple playoff games again. But the problem is they have to pay some of the guys in the defense. Like we mentioned in the last video, Kalen Bullock, Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley they just paid. Kamari Lassiter they got to pay. They just paid both their edge guys, Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson. They got to pay C.J. Stroud if he's their guy. And if he's not their guy, they got to find another quarterback again, which is really, really hard to do. So I don't know where they land in the next 5 years. But I'm going to keep him here, and young QB changes everything. And this is one of the most intriguing teams on my list. Here it is. Here's my list. Take a nice scroll, look at it. Tell me where you guys agree, disagree. There will be surprise teams that I don't know. I try to be a little hot takey. I tried to do some, you move the Giants high, put the Bengals, Cowboys up here. Weird stuff is going to happen that we do not expect. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. It means everything. And you guys like the last video, so I hope you guys enjoy this one.